Yo, what is up YouTube? I'm back with another EVOMON video, and today we're going to be showing you whether or not the new monsters are meta material. So, first off, let's go ahead and see the tier list that I have made for you guys. We are obviously only ranking the 4 new monsters, so let's go ahead and look at them right here. So obviously this is the shiny version of Clip-Exor, the boss on the Lunaria Islands. This is Goliath. This is Clanixor, and then this is Wisp Rain, who is the boss for Solaris Island. So, first off, we're going to be talking about whether or not these monsters are good, like meta-wise, PvP, PvE, etc, etc. We can talk about Boltonia, but I don't think I'm going to put them quite on the tier list, because I just haven't really gotten too much into his whole kit and everything else. I did end up getting a new prismatic version of him, and I ended up getting a red version, so that's very, very sick. But that's besides the point. So we're gonna be going over the potential moves and combos that you could potentially do with these monsters. So let's go ahead and start off with Wisp Rain. So first and foremost, I have yet to really use them and get experience with them, but I have gone into detail and kind of read their entire kit and what they can really fully kind of get. So with that being said, it seems as though Wisp Rain really concentrates hard on the ability to regain their ultimate, due to the Radiance, or the Sun's Grace. Consumes 1 stack when using a skill to gain 1 energy up to 8 stacks. So basically, it's just a stack you put on yourself that every time you use a light pulse, for example, you gain an ultimate charge back to your ultimate, obviously. So once you have all the power to use your ultimate, you have Sacred Baptism, which gives all light skills a 20 skill power up for that battle. And also it has another little passive that restores ultimate energy every 2 turns, or for 2 turns. Sorry about that. So as far as I'm seeing and kind of understanding, I have used it a little bit, and it does stack. So I'm a little confused on the stacking part, because what is it? When I was working with, I believe it was Goliath, I was stacking the core shock, the ground move, and everything else, and it was stacking up to 3s, by 3s, and then, etc, etc. I'm wondering if each stack adds that power, or if it's just an unnecessary stack. I'm not too sure. It could just be a visual thing, but yeah. So as far as I'm seeing, the only combination that I could really tell you to do is Radiance Light Pulse. Basically activate Radiance first, get the Sun Grace on you, and every Light Pulse you do, you'll get an extra energy, and then eventually you'll get Sacred Baptism probably in 3 turns, maybe 2 turns, depending on how well you set up. With that being said, you could use Sacred Baptism to further increase your light skills. I would recommend probably what you could do as well is essentially you want to use that as a condition for 2 turns. Ooh, this is actually pretty cool. For I mean, one thing you could do is kind of play around the ultimate. You don't really need to use the ultimate, and you could just kind of go for the store power and replace Radiance with store power, and essentially, or well, maybe not Radiance, but perhaps the Light Pulse with store power, just for the guaranteed critical hits for the next 2 turns. So when you do get your ultimate, your Radiant Blade or whatever light ability you want to use is going to be critical hit, and on top of that get an extra 30 or 20% or 20 power to the damage as well. So that could be a possible kind of combo as well. It's really up to you, but that's just kind of how I would build my Wisp Rain personally. So far this is kind of what my default looks like. As you know, she's not fully leveled up, so there's only so much I could do with her. Now, I am just going off of her basic kit, as I said before, but you can definitely make her very flexible by adding in other moves that she can't normally learn by herself. But yeah, so let's go ahead and move on to Clanixor. So as you guys can see, this is the shiny version of him as well. Very, very cool. So as far as I've seen, okay, very, very good as a tank monster. You could kind of take it in that direction and kind of just add on defense, and essentially just like give yourself a crap ton of defense, or even lower the enemy's defense with line breaker. So with this being said, Steel Resonance, so this is kind of how I would use him in my opinion. I would first off use my Steel Resonance just to like pop that off from the get-go. I would hone myself to the point where I'm like fully maxed power-ups. I would then use my Steel Smash, right? And then I would then use my Neutron Pulse. Okay, and I would just kind of rinse and repeat that type of thing. Now Neutron Pulse, you can't oh wait, no, you can wait, can you learn this naturally? No, you cannot learn this naturally as a Clanixor, so you will have to get the skill for this and then obviously teach it at level 120. So yeah, so after kind of comboing that, I can definitely see him outputting a crap ton of damage. Obviously you could just make him into a full-on turtle and just give him protect, iron shell, maybe even like I'm not sure, maybe even a nightfall slash, just in case you're going against multiple enemies. You never know. But yeah, so that's just how personally I would build Clanixor, just simply because, you know, why not? I'm trying to build him into more of a like really strong monster versus him kind of going into his defense. But it's really up to you how you prefer to build your Clanixor. I'm just really trying to synergize their ultimates into something like crazy. You know what I mean? But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to Clip Exor. By far my favorite looking EVOMONs. In my opinion, like my new favorite EVOMON. I just love the flying scissors and everything. I just think it's really, really cool. But so now we are going into Clip Exor. Okay, so as you guys know, the Shadow Reap, enemy ult energy -1, deals physical damage to the target and gains a plus 75 power if the target has no more than 3 ultimate energy. So with this, how I've kind of made my guy is essentially, I don't really want to go for their ultimate energy, you know what I mean? Yes, a lot of his moves primarily focus on taking people's energies. I don't really recommend you doing that, simply because it would just take way too long for you to even do anything about like taking their energy and everything else. I would simply wait for them to use their ultimate, and then you would use Shadow Reap to essentially like counter their ultimate, essentially, so that you know once their ultimate has been used, then you can like gain that plus 75 power if the target has no more than 3 ultimate energy. So yeah, that's just what I personally would try to do. As for the moves, I would honestly either use like Corrosion Fang, maybe even keep a Shadow Ambush just for that +1 priority. I would try to input Core Overdrive to gain plus 20 skill power. Yeah, so Core Overdrive is also a very nice move. Shadow Stab is decent, but I don't really recommend going for Shadow Stab. I would really just recommend trying to go Core Overdrive, even going to the extent of like removing Shadow Ambush and replacing it with a Hone 2 just to give it that increased damage, because as you guys already know, the speed on Clip Exor is actually very, very good with the 113 base stats. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to Goliath. Goliath is very, very cool. It kind of gives me Arceus vibes. So anyways, like I said beforehand, Core Shock, you kind of want to play around the ultimate here. Like I said earlier, it does stack. I don't know if the power stacks is what I'm saying. Like, it shows that the Core Shock effect is stacking, but I'm not too sure whether or not it's actually stacking the power for the ground type abilities. So personally, what I would do is Radiance, Light Pulse, and then I would, for the last ability, I would add in Caltrop, just simply because it deals physical damage to the target and lowers the target's defense by 1 stage. So over time, if this does stack power, your Caltrop will just get infinitely stronger, and on top of that, it lowers your target's defense. See what I'm saying? I would even recommend maybe even replacing Radiance with Store Power. That's always a nice little like switch in as well, just to do the like the utmost damage that you possibly could do. And on top of that, like obviously if you guys haven't already seen, their traits are pretty okay. They're not anything special, like too special in my opinion. Recover, no damage taken this turn, restores 2 extra energy. It's decent. but you have to, if you don't take damage, that's the only time it'll take effect. So if the other person buffs himself, then you will gain 2 extra energy, which is pretty decent honestly with their builds. But I don't know, personally, I think these traits could have been a little better. Each energy removed from foes by this EVOMON grants attack plus 2 stages. Okay, you know what, this one actually could be very, very good. I forgot about his trait. If that is the case, then I would really recommend going for the energy sucking abilities, like Energy Siphon, a Corrosion Fang. I recommend going for those because combined with this trait, he could passively increase his attack stages without having to waste a turn to buff himself. So that's actually really good. Now, Clanixor is very, very good simply because he has the cheat death, basically making so that he survives in the first fatal hit with 1 HP. And that's why I think he is a high candidate for like a meta monster in my opinion. Wisprain, let's see, Momentum, each extra energy restored grants SBA plus 1 stage. Now this one, same as Clipexor, but the only thing is like it only adds plus 1, which I'm a little confused about. I don't know why it's only 1 stage. I think it's decent and combines with everything else that the Wisprain even wants to do. So with that being said, I think if you guys really want to like play these characters to like their best ability, you do need the legendary traits. So let's go ahead and kind of rank these guys based off what I personally think and how good they could be used. Clanixor with the trait ability, I think he has a high potential to be a very good monster. That's my opinion. Wisprain, I think, is decent. It's you have to be very strategic with the plus 1 SBA increase. It's not that huge of a difference. The reason I put him up here is because the plus 2 is actually a pretty big difference versus the plus 1. But yeah, I'm gonna put Wisprain probably B tier. Goliath, if the power does stack, I think Goliath could be potential meta tier, okay? Meta tier / S tier potential, okay? But if it doesn't stack and it's just like kind of just, you know, there, I think he goes behind Clipexor. That's just what I think. Now, as a tank and potential unit to basically just survive, or just basically having a second bar of health essentially, I'm gonna put him probably high candidate to be S tier. High candidate. I don't think he's quite meta, but I will be putting him S tier just simply because I think he has very high potential, and if people actually start using him and like building him correctly, I think he could have a lot of potential. I don't currently have too much experience with these monsters, but over time I will get the experience, and you know, I will keep you guys updated and posted. But yeah guys, if you guys don't already know, I have an EVOMON, oh, I can fly with him. Sorry about that. I have a chat in my Discord to talk about EVOMON. So if you guys do want some help, or even just want to like talk in my EVOMON chat, make sure to check out my Discord down below in my description. And on top of that, guys, if you guys are enjoying my content, please like, please share, and please hit that subscribe button, guys. Let's shoot for 50 likes this video. And you know what I'm saying, like, if you guys are enjoying, man, let me know down in the comments, man. You know what I'm saying? It's always good. It's always nice to read you guys, your guys' comments. And also, if you guys have any questions, like, feel free to ask me in the comments below as well. But yeah, other than that, guys, I will see y'all in the next video. Later!